Today, we are going to be talking about how to make people feel comfortable around you. Okay? Have you ever met someone for the first time in your life and boom, immediately, within just a few minutes, you somehow felt comfortable around them? You were not, trying to impress them. You were not really worried about saying the wrong thing. You did not even feel like you had to really pretend to be someone else that you are not. You don't really, know how, but somehow, what you just know is that you could simply relax around them. Now, I want you to just think about the opposite. You have probably met someone in your life who made you to feel like every word you say was being judged by them. And so you became so careful whenever that you are always around them. And this always makes you to start watching what you say always around them. Okay? Now, you always feel like you have to prove yourself always to them. And suddenly, you could not really wait for the conversation to come to an end for you to be, relieved. But here is the interesting part of the whole thing that you really need to know, okay? There is a big difference. And the difference is not always about how funny, how confident, or how intelligent someone may be, because sometimes it is much simpler, and it is how safe and accepted you feel whenever that you are always around them. Okay? And that is exactly what we are going to be talking about today, because if you want to become someone that people will genuinely enjoy, being around with, then there is something that you really need to do what understand. And this is it. Making people, to be always comfortable around you whenever that they are with you is not always about you making them to like you, but it is just about you, making them to feel like they can really be themselves always around you. Okay? So it is time for us to talk about how to create an environment whereby people, can actually relax, speak honestly, and then be themselves always around you. One, stop trying so hard to always impress people. Let us start with something that might really, surprise you. Okay? If you are constantly trying to, impress someone, you may actually be making them to be less comfortable. Now, just think about it. If you are busy proving how intelligent you are to someone, how successful you are to someone or them, how interesting you are, how much you know, guess what? The other person can feel like they are watching a performance. And when people always feel like they are watching a performance from you, they may also start performing also for you. Okay? Now, nobody is relaxed, and that is the reality. And so instead of asking, how can I impress this person? Try asking yourself instead, how can I understand this person I am talking to? I think that question is best because it helps you to have a completely, different mindset altogether. And that is why you don't need to, enter into every of your conversation always trying to prove your worth to them. Trust me, you can simply be what present, and that is just okay and fine. Two, listen always without you preparing for your next sentence in the conversation. This is one of the biggest differences between people who are easy to talk to and then people who are not easy to talk to. Okay? Some people are not actually listening, but what they always do instead is that they are waiting patiently. They are waiting for you to just finish so that they can actually tell you their own story. Now, see what used to happen. When you are talking, guess what they are doing? They are always thinking, I know exactly what I am going to say next. But when someone is genuinely listening to you can feel it because they are not rushing you at all. They are simply paying a very close attention to you. They are always responding to what you are actually saying to them. And sometimes, you know what? The best thing that you can say is simply, tell me more about that. And so you don't always need an impressive response because sometimes your attention is the response the person needs for that moment. Three, don't make people to always feel stupid for being themselves whenever that they are what with you. Okay, now at this point, imagine telling someone something you are genuinely, excited about, and then they immediately laugh at you. I mean, they started mocking you, or they dismiss you, or they make you feel foolish for caring about it. Would you want to keep opening up to that the same person? The simple answer is what? No. This does not mean that you have to agree with everything that people say to you, but you can, disagree without humiliating them. And that is a matured way of doing things. You can say, I see it differently, but I understand why you think that way. Now, respect does not require agreements, and people become much comfortable around you when they know that you won't be, embarrassed simply for expressing themselves to you. Four, don't turn every of your conversation into an interview. Yes, this is very important because there is another mistake that most people are really making. They learn that making question is good, and so they ask question after question endlessly. What do you do? Where are you from? How old are you? What do you like? Where do you live? And guess what? Suddenly, it feels like an interview, isn't it? Because a good conversation is not just about you asking different types of questions to the person, but it should be, questions plus what? Sharing. Okay? If someone tells you that they enjoy cooking, you can say to the person, that is really interesting. I actually enjoy trying new recipes too, although I am still learning. Now, you are simply giving the person something, something that they can really start with, and so they can also respond in this way. The conversation becomes a connection instead of what? An interrogation. Now, the fifth one is, don't rush to fill every silence. This one is often underrated by most people. because some people become, uncomfortable the moment that there is a silence in their conversation, and so they start talking non-stop. And it is not because they have something to say per se, but it is, just because they really, you know, it is because they are really afraid of the silence. But let me tell you, comfortable people understand something. That silence isn't automatically awkward, because sometimes you are simply doing what? Thinking. Sometimes the other person also is doing what? Thinking. And sometimes you both really need, a moment, and you don't have to fill every empty second in your conversation. And that is why you have to learn how to really breathe, and also to let the conversation have space, because a comfortable silence can actually communicate. You don't have to perform for me. Now, the sixth thing is, remember the small things during your conversation. Okay, here is really a simple habit that can, make a huge difference, and I mean it. And so remember something that someone told you. Maybe they mentioned an exam that they were preparing for, and then just ask them later, how did your exam really go? Maybe they told you that they were starting something new in their life. And so just ask them, how is that thing that you were working on going? That may seem small, isn't it? But it really tells the person that, you actually listen to me. And so people really notice that in reality, and they appreciate it, but unknowingly to you. And so you don't need an extraordinary memory, but what you simply need is for you to care enough to pay a close attention to the small things in your words conversation. This is very important. Now, number 7, don't make everything in your conversation to always be about you. Because yes, life is not always about you. Okay, here is a subtle conversation habit. If someone tells you about a problem, and then immediately you say, that happened to me so, or that happened to me also, then you are simply telling your entire story to the person. You may have good intentions, but sometimes the person wasn't asking for your own story at that point, but they were just looking to be heard by you. And that is all. So instead, please try by saying, that sounds, difficult. How did you really handle it? When you do that, it simply gives them the room, because sometimes people don't really need your advice, but what they just need from you is someone who will just listen to them without the person immediately turning their experience into their own. Okay? Now, let us go to 8. Don't force people to always open up to you. Yes, this is very, very important and key for you to always know that just because you are always, comfortable sharing your personal things doesn't really mean that everyone else is just like you. Make sure to know that we are different. And so please, you don't have to always pressure people with questions that you are very much aware that they are clearly uncomfortable with answering them. And that is why you must always be what? Conscious to know if someone changes the subject while discussing. Please just let them. And so if someone gives a short answer Please don't force them to explain everything to your hearing, because comfort also includes you always knowing exactly when to give someone a breathing space. Okay, now take a good look at this. You can be interested in someone without always demanding access to every part of their life. You must not know everything about someone, and it is okay and fine in that way, because it is very important for you to always do what? Respect other people's boundaries in their life. 9, let people have a different opinion. One of the fastest ways to really make someone to be uncomfortable around you is to make them to feel like they have to agree everything that you've told them. For example, you say something and they disagree with what you say, and suddenly you are trying to convince them that they are wrong because they think differently from you. Please, I want you to know that it is not every conversation that needs a winner, and that is why sometimes you can simply say to them, wow, that is really interesting. I have never thought about it that way. Okay? Now, you can learn something, you can disagree, you can even walk away with completely different opinions and still, respect each other. And that is a good sign of emotional worth maturity. Now, let's take a look at the 10th thing. Don't try to fix everyone. Okay? This one might really hit home for some people. If someone tells you that they are struggling and immediately you started giving them, tens of solutions. Do this, try that, you should have done it this way. And let me burst your bubble right now, because sometimes people don't really need you to fix them, because sometimes what they really need from you is for them to really be heard by you. That is simple. Now, that you are really aware of this is a good thing. Before ever you give someone an advice again, please try to ask them, do you want my advice, or do you just need someone to actually listen to you? That one question can completely change the quality of your conversation with the person, because now you are respecting what the person actually needs. Okay? Now, the 11th thing is, make people feel that they don't have to compete with you. Some people turn every of their conversation into a competition, and so if you achieve something, they will tell you their achievement that is bigger and then better than your own achievement that you told them. If you say you travel to somewhere, they will tell you where they travel to that is far more better than where you told them that you travel to. If you have an idea, guess what? They will make sure that immediately they also tell you, why their idea is better than your own idea. And that is why being around people of that nature can really become what? So exhausting, I must tell you. And that is why you don't really need to prove, to anyone that you are better than everyone. You can celebrate someone else's success without you always feeling like your own value has really decreased. Okay? And the truth is this: when people, realize that they don't have to compete with you, what happens next? They feel, more relaxed around you. And that is what's so powerful, isn't it? Now, the 12th thing is the biggest secret. Be comfortable with yourself. Here is the part that I really want you to always remember, and that is so important because sometimes we are so focused on making other people comfortable to the point that we always forget the foundation, which is you need to be, comfortable with yourself. If you are constantly worried about how you are being perceived, you will naturally put pressure on the people that are always around you. You will overthink their reactions. You will try too hard to be liked by them. You will become afraid of silence. You will constantly search for approval. But when you are comfortable with yourself, because you don't need everyone to validate you, guess what? You can listen without you actually needing, to impress them. Okay? You can always disagree without you actually becoming what? Defensive. You can, allow silence, but then you can let people to be themselves when they are what's always around you. And you can simply what? Be present. Now, the biggest lesson that I really want you to take away from this video is this: people don't necessarily feel comfortable around you just because you always know what to say at the right time, but they feel more comfortable around you just because they don't feel like they have to start protecting themselves from you. Okay? They don't feel, constantly judged when they are with you. They don't feel pressured to impress you. They don't feel like, every conversation with you is a competition. They don't, feel rushed when they are having a conversation with you. They don't feel ignored whenever they are having a conversation with you. They feel heard. They feel respected. They feel like they can actually breathe. And that is something worth becoming, isn't it? Of course it is. Now, the next time that you are talking to someone, please don't ask yourself, how can I make this person to like me? But you should rather start asking yourself this important question instead: how can I make this person feel more comfortable being themselves around me? Now, this is exactly what you have to keep on doing in order for you to make people to start feeling comfortable being themselves around you. And so, how can you achieve that? By listening to them, be conscious about what they are telling you, don't rush them, don't judge them, respect their boundaries, don't compete with them, and don't make everything to always be about yourself alone, because sometimes the truth is this: most memorable person in the room is not really the person who talked the most, but it is the person who made everyone else to feel like they really matter. And if you have ever met someone like that, then you will probably remember them not necessarily because of everything that is said to you, but because of, how you felt when you were around them. And that is exactly the kind of person that I really want you, that I really want us to become, and not someone who knows how to always manipulate other people into what? Liking them. Not someone who is constantly trying to be impressive, but someone whose presence really makes people to feel respected, heard, and then comfortable. Okay? If this video gave you a perspective that you have not thought about it before, then consider subscribing to Simplicity in Peak channel, because that is what I want this channel to be about. Okay? Not just giving you information, but giving you perspectives that make you, to stop and then say to yourself, wow, I never looked at it that way before. Okay? I love to hear from you in the comment section of this video. Now, what did I want to hear from you? What is one thing that someone has done to you that made you to feel immediately comfortable around them? Maybe your answer will really teach someone in the comment section something that they never considered before. And so do not forget to give this video a like and also share this video with your loved ones. Okay? Thank you so much a million times for watching today's video. I want you to, keep on growing. I want you to keep on learning, and always remember that you don't have to be the most interesting person, in someone's life to make a difference, because sometimes you simply making them to feel seen is just enough. Okay? I will see you again in my next video. Don't go nowhere. Remain tuned.